Hello everyone, I'm Geeta Mehta, the founder of Asia Initiatives, and I want to welcome each and every one of you who's joining us today. Thank you. I also want to extend a special thank you to Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, the 8th UN Secretary General, who's joining us for the 5th time to confer the Pangimon Awards for Women Empowerment. I know you all know much about him, but I just want to highlight that he was the force behind creation of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are the roadmap to a better future for all of us and our children. I also want to highlight that it was his hard work that brought into existence the Paris Accords, and he has really rallied many countries behind that in their implementation. But it is his unwavering support for women's empowerment that inspires us every day. He actually appointed more women to high-level positions at the United Nations than anybody else before him. So thank you and welcome again, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And now, to take you through today's events, I want to introduce our MC, Natalie Nasensi, an amazing poet, and we are just so proud to have her in our team.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here with you today. Our story began with a single idea, a grand, inspiring vision. We thought, how can we change the world? Let's start by empowering women. Through the years, with your help, we've slowly grown that mission. Together, we've given thousands of communities the tools for better living. And now, our greatest hope, let's make thousands become millions. Together, we continue to spread the message, empowerment through positivity, creativity, inclusivity, sustainability, and accessibility. Let us share in the ability to be agents of change. You can join us in this journey by donating now by clicking on the link I have just placed in the chat below. Since Asia Initiatives is a 501c3 registered charity, all of your contributions are tax deductible and will go directly to support our projects, especially for long-term support needed by families impacted by COVID. We appreciate your generosity. Now, let's watch a short video of our work. Asia Initiatives is pleased to present our work in the last 5 years. We are empowering communities through our award-winning community currency of social good, socks, by directly working with the community themselves to find solutions to their problems. Socks are earned by doing an act of social good for the community and redeemed for education, healthcare, and skill empowerment. The goal is to help communities become resilient and self-reliant. Today, we present to you how Socks has helped empower women and transform communities. Cascades of Learning is our flagship education initiative, through which participants help younger children stay and succeed in school to earn socks, which they redeem for different learning opportunities for themselves. . 。  . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Thousands of self-help groups have been established for rural women's livelihood programs that provide low-interest loans for livestock rearing, micro-poultry farms, and other entrepreneurial ventures to almost 2,500 women in Africa and India. SOCS has motivated 4,000 women from impoverished communities in India and Kenya to adopt organic nutrition gardens. Communities also earned SOCS by providing their own labor for desilting and repairing rainwater harvesting structures. These efforts provided water security and prosperity, showing the versatility of SOCS. Through our SOCS incentivized health initiatives, over 5,000 families gained access to clean and safe drinking water. 2,000 women and girls have attended health workshops and have access to reusable reproductive products. Our participants in Kenya and India have earned their SOCS by greening their neighborhoods. We have planted over 50,000 native trees in community spaces. In our SOCS cascade of upskilling, we trained over 500 women farmers to adopt organic system of rice intensification. They will earn SOCS for training other women farmers, who will then train others. Over 4,000 women have adopted organic farming, thereby completely discarding the use of harmful chemicals in their farmlands. We have encouraged our women farmers to use natural pest control through homemade bird perches and sticky traps for flying insects. Over 1,200 women petitioned the government for better services. Women also came together to create an all-woman water council, Pani Panchaya, in drought-prone regions. Please join us today and help us make this year one of recovery and hope for all communities with lasting, sustainable change towards their own bright future. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the highlight of our evening, a conversation with the 8th UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and the recipients of the 5th anniversary Ban Ki-moon Award. Let me now introduce you to our wonderful Gala co-chairs, Ramakrishna and Radhika Sehgal, who will introduce our honorees. A. Ramakrishna, the founder and chief investment officer at Arga Investment Management, has been a long-term supporter of Asia initiatives. As the chief administrative officer, Radhika Sehgal has helped create, build, and manage RSG media systems.
It is my special privilege to introduce Dr. Paul Polman, a person I've admired for a long time. Paul Polman is co-founder and co-chair of Imagine and a leading proponent that business should be a force for good. The Financial Times described Paul as a standout CEO of the past decade. As CEO of Unilever between 2009 and 2019, he demonstrated that a long-term and multi-stakeholder model goes hand in hand with excellent financial performance. He was a member of Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's high-level panel, which developed the Sustainable Development Goals. I am very much looking forward to reading his book, Net Positive: How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More Than They Take. It is due out in October 2021. As a business person myself, I'm particularly delighted that Paul is receiving the Pangimon Award for Women's Empowerment today. Thank you.
I am passionate about the cause of education, and so it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Lee Bae-yong, who is today's recipient of the prestigious Ban Ki-moon Award for Women's Empowerment. She has impacted the lives of innumerable women and girls as the president of Eva Women's University, which is amongst the most prestigious and oldest in Korea. She is the recipient of the Blue Stripes Order of Service Merit and has also served as an advisor to the president of Korea and to numerous organizations conducting research on women's issues. She has worked tirelessly to highlight women throughout the Korean history. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee, for being with us today, and congratulations.
Power, wisdom, drive, knowledge, determination, and strength. Leading with grace and integrity, impacting the world at length. Speaking out loud and clear with a purpose. Women, culture, history, and truth. Supporting the forces of good and equality, influence and inspire us all. This is what characterizes our stars this evening. Now, let us watch them in dialogue with our president, Dr. Geeta Mehta.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you to all of you for joining us today. Our deepest gratitude to you, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, for your wonderful support to us as we celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Pangimon Awards for Women Empowerment. You inspire us every day. Can you please say a few words on this special anniversary to the award recipients this year? Please.
Well, thank you, Dr. Geeta Mehta. It's my great pleasure to be with you on the 5th anniversary of this award. I would first like to say that I admire the work of that Asia Initiative does toward the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Your community currency SOCCs, or social capital credits, is a powerful tool to help entire communities come out of poverty and for empowering women with dignity. This was one of my key focus areas during my tenure at the United Nations. I'm especially pleased that this year, the award will go to Dr. Paul Polman, my good friend, and Dr. Lee Bae-yong. I want to tell you my own experience working with Chairman Paul Polman, since he was appointed as one of the high-level panel of eminent persons that developed the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. He has continued to be an active UN SDG advocate in his work with the global organizations to push the 2030 development agenda. I'm especially impressed with the new non-profit organization he has co-founded, Imagine. I see the backdrop of Imagine, to harness the power of the private sector to reduce extreme inequality in the world and to stem the climate crisis. We need many thought leaders like him. I'm also looking forward to reading his book, Net Positive: How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More Than They Take. That is due out, I understand, in October. Congratulations to you, Paul, for all these many achievements. I have also known Dr. Lee Bae-yong, president of Ewha Women's University, the oldest university in Korea with 120 years of history. Dr. Lee Bae-yong has been practicing the educational philosophy of sharing, service, love, and dedication. Dr. Lee has been creating opportunities for talented students of Ewha University to benefit from global networks and international exchange programs. It is my great pleasure to present this award to two very dedicated change makers, and thank you for both of your great work.
Thank you. We are indeed so honored that you are presenting the award to these two wonderful people who've contributed so much to the world. Paul, while our audience knows you best for your leadership at Unilever, we also know that you continue to be a passionate advocate for responsible business stewardship. And I think that is also the subject of your new book, which is Net Positive. So I want you to say a little bit about your ideas and about the book that you have written, which will be released in October, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Geta. First of all, let me just say also that it's a great honor to receive this award, and especially from Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who is not only a very inspirational leader, but also a good and dear friend. And it certainly was a privilege to work together with him on developing the Sustainable Development Goals. That was a wonderful learning period for myself as well that has definitely shaped my life. I will say that you won't find a more passionate advocate or committed activist, if you want to, who strives impatiently to deliver the 2030 Development Agenda. And the Secretary General's new book will be a welcome addition to that. I also like to congratulate once more Dr. Lee for spreading the concept actually of sharing, service, love, and dedication, which are indeed all things that are badly needed. And then finally, to the Asia Initiative and your tireless effort there, Gita, especially for the Asia region to fight for the poor, for women, for the environment are all badly needed. Which brings me straight to the book, Net Positive, How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More Than They Take. And it will come out early October, so you can pre-order now. But it's Net Positive is about creating, for me, a movement that describes how successful companies can profit not from creating the world's problems, but actually from solving the world's problems. I believe that for business to be successful long term, they need to show that they have a net positive impact, or in other words, make this a better world for all. Frankly, if business cannot show that they have a positive effect on society, then why should we let these businesses be around? So it requires a little bit of a different definition of performance, a more comprehensive process, if you want to, of value creation that goes beyond financial returns alone, but also includes people and profit, very much at the heart of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would call it moving from CSR, or corporate social responsibility, which deals with being less bad, to responsible social corporations, which is embedding sustainability in the middle of the corporate strategy if you need to. We describe in the book the net positive companies as those companies that take ownership of all their impacts and consequences in the world, intended or not, that operate for the long-term benefit of both business and society, that create a positive return for all stakeholders, not just the shareholder, that drive shareholder value as a result of what they do, not as a goal, which is still too much the case for too many companies. And then most importantly, those are companies that actually partner for the broader systems changes that are needed. They're driven by a strong purpose. Often there is a misconception that companies must be either purpose-driven or profit-driven, and that you cannot do both. That is no longer the case. In fact, increasingly it is shown that purpose actually fuels profit, and that purpose-driven companies and brands outperform the benchmark, if you want to. Just Capital here in the US compared about 1,000 companies in the Russell, and they found that companies that lead with this multi-stakeholder, longer-term business model with purpose at the core were in the last 4 years alone outperforming their competitive set by over 30%. So this book helps you not only on your personal transformation, because personal leadership is very important, but also the system changes that you need to lead as a company to create this world that works for all and to make the Sustainable Development Goals actually come alive.
Thank you so much, Paul. We do need the major shifts you are talking about. And I also really like that you are emphasizing the urgency of this matter, that this has to be a decade of action. So thank you so much. Really appreciate the work you're doing. Dr. Lee, I would like to now ask you that you have worked all your life to further women's education in South Korea. We also know that the current pandemic, COVID, has affected education across the globe in ways that are good in some respects and not so good in others. Do you think that the boom in online learning at nearly all universities is here to stay? And will that have a positive impact on women around the world or not?
I would like to begin by expressing how honored and grateful I am for the Pangimon Award for Women's Empowerment as we celebrate its 5th anniversary. I would like to thank Ms. Geeta Mehta for all the arrangement, and I'd like to pay tribute to the great achievements of Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and express my deepest appreciation for all he has done over the years. And my congratulations also go to the co-recipient, Dr. Paulman. Of course, the online classes are convenient in that they transcend the spatial and temporal boundaries and expand the classrooms further to disseminate information over greater distances and allow communication on a larger scale. However, life cannot be only about convenience. There has to be benefits to be enjoyed and a sense of order in place so that we can rest assured and look for traces of hope. In other words, we need balance. The status quo has continued for nearly 2 years now, and many teachers and students complain of poor eyesight. Making real eye contact in classrooms, feeling a friendly pat on the shoulder and each other's warm hearts, that can be encouraging in more ways than one. We can utilize online education and collaboration as one of the tools, but I don't believe that the virtual mode should dictate the whole of our education. Harmony must exist between human and nature, between ideals and the reality, and among past, present, and future. Equipped with such wisdom of harmony, we humans must pave the road to the future. The current pandemic is warning us that environmental destruction and animal abuse are unsustainable behaviors, and we must find the good in our hearts again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. That was wonderful advice. I particularly appreciate it because I'm a teacher myself at Columbia University, and I very much agree with everything you said. So, Secretary General, I also want to congratulate you on your new book, Resolve, Uniting Nations in a Divided World. We are so excited about it. And thank you so much for including Asia initiatives as a small reference in it. Thank you so much. Can you talk a little bit about your book?
Well, thank you very much for recognizing my book, my memoir, Resolved, Uniting the Nations in a Divided World. This is what I myself thought about, how we have to work to really make United Nations really united one. Mm-hmm. So there are so many crises, so many conflicts, so many poverty, human rights violations, etc. So we cannot say that we are living in a peaceful time, even during 21st century, while science and technology is at its height. So everything should make us much better than before. But that's what I have been really trying to resolve during my tenure time as Secretary General. This is a very limited story. I could not tell all what had happened during my 10 years time in just 360 pages, a small book, very limited space. But I hope that the readers and people of the world will be able to get, if any, some inspiration from my experience. And I just wanted to spread the ideas and spark the actions. So let the leaders of political, economic, and business and societal community to have some global citizenship. It's very difficult to find global leaders at this time. At best, they are national leaders. It's very disappointing that we don't have many leaders who are really equipped with a global citizenship. That's what I really wanted to share with the readers of the world. Now, as you may know, my life story is now through during last 77 years, starting from colonial era, then independence, and then war. Peace and security has been a very serious one, and then dictatorship in Korea, then fighting for democracy, and then finally, we have achieved some economic development and full democracy. So this is something which other people can learn from what the Korea has been doing. But I'm now talking about the world as a former Secretary General of the United Nations. So it's my humble idea that my book can really spread the ideas of global citizenship and do some inspiration, give some inspirations to world's people, particularly political leaders. Thank you very much for you asking this question.
Thank you so much. We are very excited to read your book and learn from you always. So thank you so much. I want to come back to you, Dr. Lee. Can you give the viewers, there are a lot of young people watching today, can you give them just one line of advice as they go forward in their education and careers?
그리고 가장 자신이 즐거워할 수 있는 일을
What I would like to tell the youth of the times today is, although things may be tough, do not give up and hold on to your dreams. Choose what you enjoy doing most, believe in yourself, and work hard at it, and someday your dream will come true. Think positively, you can do it, and never lose hope.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Paul, what is your advice for the many business leaders who are listening to us today?
Well, the advice would also be for young people, but for business people, I would say we've never been so forewarned about what's going to happen in the world, but also forearmed with tools to do something about it. And it's well within our means, as the Secretary General said, to solve today's challenges. I also believe actually that it is the biggest economic opportunity that we have ahead of us. We are at the point, as COVID has shown, that the cost of inaction now is significantly higher than the cost of action. When we just looked at 4 areas in the Sustainable Development Goals, we found an opportunity to unlock $12 trillion in the next 10 years alone and actually create 380 million jobs at a time that we need them. So I realize that change of this magnitude is not an easy thing to do, but the world we want to achieve is only possible for the business leaders if we choose action over indifference, if we choose courage over comfort, and if we choose solidarity over division, some of the elements that the Secretary General already has pointed out. The ones that will seize this opportunity will prosper, but the ones that don't, I believe, will be relegated to the graveyard of dinosaurs.
Yes, wow, that is so powerful and so true. Thank you. Secretary General, would you like to give your final advice as we close this important conversation?
My best advice to our youth leaders is that, first of all, have a global vision with passion and compassion. So we have to listen very carefully to the voices of young people. And we have a moral and political responsibility to make sure that we do much more addressing this climate crisis and make sure that Sustainable Development Goals are implemented by 2030 and make sure that we have carbon neutrality by 2050. I believe that for political leaders, this is their political responsibility. For us now, as a private citizen, moral responsibility, which we have to do it. This is my message to young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, this is the need for the hour. And I think all of you have reminded us today that each one of us has an individual responsibility, also a moral responsibility to work towards a better future for our children, our grandchildren, and everyone. I also just want to close by saying how grateful we are to each one of you for your tremendous contributions to society and for leading the way to a better world. So using the keywords today, can I say, let us imagine a future with resolve and net positivity. Thank you so much.
I would like to remind our viewers that proceeds from this gala will go towards the COVID relief work that we have been doing for our people in projects in India and Kenya, and our commitment to standing by our people as they build back their lives after loss of jobs, savings, and lives. To our brothers and sisters, as sad as it seems in times like these, when we have no control over disease, we have each other, and that is hopeful. Though COVID has brought us to our knees in a battle of sickness and sorrow, we can overcome anything with hope's helpful hands, holding on to a better tomorrow, together with you. Now, let us watch our COVID relief work. The COVID-19 pandemic has disproportionately impacted poor and impoverished communities in India and Africa. Asia Initiatives has been providing critical support to the people in our projects who are suffering due to the severe impact of the COVID crisis in India. Many of them have lost loved ones, their jobs, and their life savings. The new wave of COVID reached rural areas, where access to proper healthcare resources were sparse. Asia Initiatives jumped in to help in 3 important ways. Education centers were converted to COVID care centers for patients who have clinical symptoms but couldn't access medical support due to lack of beds or distance to the hospitals. We have also committed to support travel of 500 rural villagers and migrant workers to vaccination centers. In the light of new COVID restrictions, means to health and food resources has become very limited. Asia Initiatives has been providing nutrition kits for pregnant women, food packets for migrants returning from cities, and families who do not have the documentation to avail from the government PDS system. Asia Initiatives is also committed to post-COVID support, since the loss of lives and livelihoods will take many years to recover from. We will stand by our communities and make them strong, self-reliant, empowered, resilient communities, and we invite you to join us. As part of our COVID resilience program, we are distributing seed kits for kitchen gardens so that women and their families can get the much-needed nutritional security in such uncertain times. We are also proud of the many young students led by 2 junior board members of the Asia Initiatives Tokyo chapter, who came together to create a Tokyo for India fundraiser campaign. Please join us to help communities recover from the disproportionate severe impact of the COVID pandemic by supporting our COVID relief work and post-COVID resilience projects. Together, let's expand, reach families all over the globe, provide a future of opportunities, give them hope, and help them grow. Let's show them anything is possible, no matter what we face. With determination coming from less leads to more, it holds the power to create great change. Every dollar raised today will go to our projects to support COVID relief and build resilience in our communities. Thank you so much for all of your support. And now, we want to hear from you. I would love to invite Dr. Geeta Mehta, Dr. Paul Pullman, and Ricky Cage on the screen to answer your questions. Please place your questions in the chat below, and I will bring you up as time permits.